tonight, first candy. Let's get it in.
Well, we're here. This is our first launch, number 1. I'm so excited.
Well, I can see the turnout that we have right now, and actually, we really don't usually have a big turnout, but to me, I don't care about the number. As long as you reach the people, my father always told me, one man always represents 10,000. So you touch one man, that man will go touch 10,000. So as long as we continue doing what we strive and we shoot, people say shoot for the clouds and the stars. I say no. Why? Because I'm already the sun. I burn, and I'm gonna burn, and I'm gonna keep burning. So we here to do what we here today. We're gonna start in a couple minutes. Everything will be good.
2010 I started this. I said I wanted to make a change in my community, most definitely. I'm from Hartford, Connecticut. Grew up in Westbrook Village, 81 Dillon Road. All my life, that's all I know. I traveled to Georgia, New York, Jersey. That's a lot of it. What I realized is that, in every inner city, it's the same thing, the same problems, same issues. The community issues that we face on a day-to-day basis is just, sad. And a lot of times we forget about things and try to embrace a lot of negativity instead of spreading positivity and love. And that's what I'm about, me as myself. I'm about love. I love to help people. I love to just, I have a passion for just to help anyone of any race or your religion. I do have an issue with, atheist people, but who am I to judge? I only can judge you for you, So that's God's job to be judgmental. So for Unity Community Outreach Corporation, our objective is to foster awareness of neighborhood issues and promote diversity by providing social functions and recreational activities. And what we basically trying to do is provide social things of such, bring peace and unity, and try to and help self-esteem, so to speak. The founding members that also founded with me, I founded it, got corporate in 2011 in the state of Connecticut. Kahel, Brother Timothy Freylon, he should be on his way, and David James. So I praise God, once again, my brother right here said, because without him, I wouldn't be here. This far, it was just a thought at first, and it just came to so much of a big nucleus that I just, lost the words sometimes. Like, wow, we definitely going, and people see what I'm trying to do and tag along and try to make the world a better place. Somehow, somewhere, I don't have all the answers. I don't know exactly what to do, but I do know some steps, as far as bringing some unity together. And that's what I'm about. So I'd like to introduce Mr. Robert here, our Executive Director, who is going to talk about Trayvon Martin.
I'm your host for the evening. Thank you for coming out. It's very humbling for me to be here tonight. We're here. What I want to tell you first is, first of all, thank you, Anthony, for starting for Unity, because it's important. Any community outreach organization is important, no matter where it is or what their vision is. We're for Unity. We're out here in the streets. We're not hiding behind doors. We're out here. We're warriors out here, and we get out and we do our initiatives, as you can see right here on the screen. This is what we do. We get out there in the community and we show our support. We're here to promote peace and unity in the community. our main focus is the youth, of course, that we want to give them hope that things will get better in the future. A lot of people in impoverished areas, they don't have hope. It's hard to visualize something that you don't see. And it's important that someone, anyone, is going to be there to show you that maybe there's another way, a better way. Maybe help guide you to a better path. It's very I actually had written a speech I was going to give tonight, and it was too long, and I'm not going to do that. So I'm going from the head, and I'm not the most eloquent speaker.
That's all right.
I'm not the most articulate orator, you understand, but I am passionate about my people. And when I say my people, I mean everybody, because For Unity is an all-inclusive organization. We love everybody, and we're a diverse organization, and we want everyone to join with us. The more, the merrier. But when I say my people, I do specify, because even though everyone is welcome and we love everyone, we definitely have an Afrocentric viewpoint that we come from. My specialty that I bring to the table is historical. I'm a closet historian, and I have been my entire life. And it's what I do, it's my passion. And what I do is I look at things, I look at situations that take place today in the world, and I put them into a historical perspective. And when I do that, I see a lot of similarities between things that have happened in the past and things that happen today. Anthony already hit on the fact that in our communities, and what I mean by our are black communities. I don't care where you go in this country, any state or city or town, you always have the black side of town. And 9 times out of 10, that side of town is the side of town that has the highest crime rate, the lowest high school graduation rates, drugs, crime, unemployment, gun violence, go on and on. And none of these are positives. These are all negatives. And this isn't a new phenomenon. This is going on historically. And there's reasons for this. I'm not going to sit here and give you all the reasons, in my opinion, right now. I can sit up here all night long and go over this. But they're known pretty much to everyone. And in the months to come, as we continue this series, this video and discussion series, we will hit on many, many different topics and subjects that all pertain to the same thing. Why we do what we do, and what we can maybe do about it in the future. My For Unity brothers and sisters, we're warriors. You know, we're out here fighting. We're soldiers. We're the front line. This was our first peace initiative right here, and this gentleman with the blue shirt front and center, that's the mayor. That's the mayor of Windsor, Connecticut. He came out and he walked with us, and that was pretty special. And that set an outstanding tone for what we're trying to achieve. This is just one aspect of what we do. We have many different irons in the fire that we're attempting to get started at this time. And with the help of all of you, we shall accomplish our goals. We're warriors. We're warriors against anything negative that takes place in our community. There are in the concrete jungle where we live, there are many cracks in the sidewalk. And from those cracks, flowers do grow. And that's important because it gives us hope. It gives us hope because it's most important for the kids. They need to know They need to know that there is hope. Because when we walked through the other day, we were over in the Garden Street, Vine area, one of the worst neighborhoods as far as crime and drugs are concerned in the state. And, you know, we got a lot of funny looks, but that's okay. That's okay. We expect that. We also got a lot of love, and that's what it's about. And it's really funny how people react to you when you're doing something positive and you're doing it in your face. Some people don't know how to react. You know, they just look at you and wonder, like, what are you doing? What are these people doing? What we're doing is we're spreading hope and we're spreading love, and that's what we do. That's what we're about. This organization is Anthony's vision, and we're his soldiers. We're here to back him up in anything he wants to do, and I love it. I've wanted to do something like this for many years, but I really didn't know how to get started. And Anthony called me and asked me to head these sessions, and I'm honored to do so. With that said, we're going to get started on why we're here tonight. We're here tonight to discuss a problem in our community called racial profiling. It's prevalent in our community, more prevalent than we know, and it takes many different forms. The most recent case, and the most public case, and we've all heard about it, is the Trayvon Martin case down in Sanford, Florida. That type of situation has happened many times before. It can't happen. We cannot allow that to happen to our children. That could have been any of our kids. It could have been us. I've been profiled many times in my life, from coast to coast. It happens. It's part of who we are. We get used to it. We get complacent with it. But we should never accept it. We should never accept it. It's wrong. And what I mean by us, once again, black people, African American people. It happens to other races also, but not like it happens to us. And we want to stop that. We want to enlighten people and let them know that this is unacceptable behavior, and we're not going to stand for it anymore. What happened to that young man down in Florida could have happened here, anywhere. And it's a scenario that should never take place. I feel for him, and I feel for his family. I feel like I lost one of my own relatives when I heard this story. We weren't able to, when it happened and the rallies were taking place here, we weren't able to participate as a group. That's why I decided to start our sessions with this storyline, because it's important. And just because it happened a few months ago and it's not in the news anymore right now, we shouldn't forget about it and put it on the back burner. It should stay in the forefront of our thoughts, because it can happen tonight, right down the block. Trayvon Martin, 14-year-old boy, he's walking home from a store, and the story is well documented. But for those of you who don't know the story, or maybe just a recap, the only crime he committed that night was the fact that he was an African American, that his skin was brown. From a historical perspective, that's always been our number one crime, is what I like to call this right here. This right here will get you hung in the past. This right here will get crosses burned in front of your house. This right here will get your churches bombed, your children tortured. This right here got us enslaved for almost 300 years. A lot of people don't like to talk about these type of things. They like to, how should I say, ignore history. I don't do that. I embrace history because it's important. Because I truly believe that if you do not know your history, you are doomed to repeat it. We do not want to repeat that history. We've been here for a long time. This is our country. We came here before the Mayflower came here. We were here 1 year before. The first 20 Africans who ever came to this country got off of a slave ship in Jamestown, Virginia in 1619. 1 year before the Mayflower landed at Plymouth Rock. A lot of people don't know this. We were already here. So when Malcolm X said that we didn't land in Plymouth Rock, that Plymouth Rock landed on us, he knew what he was talking about. We built this country. This is our home. We are the most unique people and diverse people on the face of this planet. We're the most emulated and the most hated. Because of this right here, we are put in many positions of negativity. We were enslaved here for almost 300 years. After that period of time, we went through a period called Reconstruction. It lasted 12 years. It was a good time. But it only lasted 12 years. And I don't want to get into a whole history lesson now, because I could do this all for hours. But we need to know who we are so that we can understand why we do what we do. Don't let anyone tell you. Don't let anyone tell you that you do what you do or what happens in our communities is our fault. Let's go.
Little baby Emmett Till was born to Mammy and Louis Till on July 25, 1941, in Chicago at the Cook County Hospital. He never really knew his dad, and he was raised by his grandmother Alma and his mother. At age 6, he was diagnosed with polio. Emmett, however, grew up healthy and strong. One summer, Emmett and his cousin were sent to Mississippi to spend the summer with their uncle Moses Wright. Emmett's mother warned him about the racism in the South before he left. On August 24, 1955, Emmett and his cousin went to a store called Bryant's Grocery and Meat Market. The store was owned by Roy Bryant. Carolyn Bryant, Roy's wife, was running the store when Emmett bought some candy and a soda. On the way out, he whistled at 21-year-old Carolyn Bryant. When Roy Bryant heard about this incident, he and his half-brother went looking for Emmett. When they found Emmett, they beat him to his death and threw him in a river called the Tallahatchie River. Three days later, the police found his body, decayed with a bad smell. Emmett's eye was gouged out, and he had been shot in the head, and an ear had been cut off. When his mother found out, she was devastated. She wanted the casket to be open, stating, "I want the world to see what they did to my baby." The story of Emmett Till spread across the world. Reporters lined up, wanted to take pictures of Emmett's body. Roy Bryant and his half-brother J.W. Milliam were the two men convicted of Emmett Till's death. Moses Wright was a witness to the murder, and he was the first black to testify against a white person. Moses Wright was followed by Willie Reed, who witnessed the murder. After the two men were found innocent, many people protested for justice and equality. Emmett's mother dedicated the rest of her life to make her son's story known.
The reason we showed this is to make a comparison, a contrast between then, 1955, and now, 2012, with what happened with Trayvon Martin down in Sanford, Florida. So we're going to get into that right
And it turns out the teenager wasn't carrying a weapon. He was just carrying some candy and some iced tea. Police say they do not have enough evidence to arrest Zimmerman, and Zimmerman strongly denies he did anything wrong.
This is probably one of the most egregious miscarriages of justice to this point that we've seen in recent times. It's clear from the tapes that this guy picked the kid out, followed him down the street.
When told not to.
When told not to, and then, in my opinion, from what I can tell, initiated the altercation with the kid. You hear him on the tape say things like he had his hand in his waistband. Since when is that a crime? Since when is walking around with a hood up a crime? This is a kid who had a right to be where he was. This guy, I think it's clear he was racially profiled by this guy. This is also someone who, to me, there were racial overtones, obviously racial overtones with the shooting, but this is a guy who fancies himself some kind of a sheriff, a lawman. He's carrying a gun. Neighborhood watch is neighborhood watch. If you see something going on, you pick up the phone and you let the police handle it.
Yeah, it's totally and completely him trying to act like some vigilante superhero or something. He's completely calm on the phone. It's clearly not self-defense.
He's not threatened at all.
Shooting somebody, it sounds like, who's yelling help. And you know what I think? I think if the killer was black and killed a teenager, he would be in jail. This guy still got his gun. They didn't take his gun away.
They didn't even take his gun. And I don't care if you're a police officer and you shoot someone, if there's an officer-related shooting, you, as a police officer, you have to give your gun up. It's evidence. Someone is dead. Whether we don't know enough about it, he hasn't been arrested yet, but what we do know is a young boy who has done nothing wrong, was shot dead, and the guy who did it is walking free, carrying the gun that did it.
It's sickening.
It's outrageous.
I think that the first thing is that I'm glad that you were willing to stand up and say what we have been saying for years, and that you see what this truly is, which is racism, and often more than not, it happens to our children. What you hear on this tape is a baby fighting for his life up against a grown man with a weapon. And what is really the thing that we need to commend the Justice Department, the FBI, and the grand jury for is the system is going to work because there were protests, and that's our right as Americans. This is an American story, so don't just think that this is a black story, because this happens to Americans every day. And if we don't stand together, how are we going to protect our children? When did candy and iced tea ever become a weapon? This child should have been able to walk wherever he was going to go and not have to worry about being shot.
Not only does it feel racist what happened, but I also question, does the racism extend beyond what happened that night? Why wasn't there an arrest? Why hasn't there been an arrest? And to your point, on the back end, yes, if it was a neighborhood watch person who was male and black and the dead victim was white,
Oh, he'd be gone.
there would be an arrest.
To support Trayvon's family and let them know that they are not alone. We need to come together to realize that justice needs to be made in the Trayvon case. My colleagues and mayors across the United States are trying to figure out whether this was a hate crime or worse, an assassination. We need to come together as a community because racism needs to come to an end. We thought that with the election of Obama, that somehow racism would disappear. Racism is still alive and strong in this country, and we need to confront that reality.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
We owe it. We owe it to our children. We owe it to our youth to make sure that they do not walk in fear because of the color of their skin. We owe it to them. It is our responsibility. It is our obligation. So we hope that out of this tragic moment, with the loss of a man, a young man, a child, who was killed because of what he was wearing, perhaps maybe the color of his skin, does not happen to any other person again. I lost my father at age, he was 19, and he was killed, coincidentally enough, by the shirt he was wearing. And while it was Latino and Latino violence, it was a life, and it's nonetheless important. So we need to come together as a community. We need to have that dialogue. We need to have that dialogue. You know, part of the problem is that people are not talking about it. You know, we might have the Trayvon incident and we spark a movement and then things sort of subside. There needs to be a dialogue, but more importantly, there needs to be an action-oriented agenda.
Yes, sir.
Because too many of our youth, especially in this area, are unemployed. And we cannot allow our youth to lose hope. We need to keep that hope alive. So I will continue to pray for Trayvon. I will continue to be active with the other mayors because it looks like there's going to need to be some federal intervention here. If the city of Sanford cannot get its act together, if the state of Florida cannot get its act together, the federal government needs to step in and make sure that there's a watchdog over this, making sure that justice is done. And ladies and gentlemen and children, there needs to be justice in the Trayvon case. Thank you for being here. This is a good time for leaders also to come together. Reverend McCauley's here. I invite the leaders to come together as well. You know, this is too important not to be together.
Yes.
We have to be together on this. So thank you so much, and let's make sure that justice is done.
Bring out low, baby.
Revered. He doesn't mind saying what he has to
Bring
say.
out low, baby. Bring him on. Bring him on.
He does it like he wants to.
Bring him on,
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome the Reverend Al Sharpton.
Bring him on. Bring him on. What's up, Al? Like that, huh?
No justice. No justice. No justice. No justice. What do we want? Justice.
Trayvon Martin was killed. They thought that this would not matter to anyone, anywhere. But ever since his parents reached out, we have been moving all over the country and moving here in Sanford. I want you to know today in London, England, ministers marched on the American consulate with hoodies on their head. All over the world.
The black man is
they're calling for justice for Trayvon. Let me be clear.
What school?
There are those that are attacking.
What school? I'll come talk to him.
All of us that are marching.
Want my card?
We came because the parents asked us to come. They called and said they wanted it known all over the world. If you
who told you that?
Want to talk about who is running in somebody's business, is those that are interfering with the parents calling on those of us that came. We're not talking about your child, we're talking about their child, and if they want to fight for their child, then shut up and get out of their way. Here. When I talk about we have to escalate, and we do, and we will, there is a law in the state of Florida that after an arrest is made, you have a certain amount of days to charge, or you cannot charge anymore. The other night, I want y'all to get this, they released the tape of Zimmerman handcuffed. And all of us saw he didn't look like he had any injuries. But even beyond that, he was handcuffed. Be careful they don't try to act like that was an arrest and run the clock on us and say we out of time. That's why we come to stay to say peaceful protest, everything's on the table. If we've got to escalate nonviolently to pray in here and see what they do as we pray in Holy Week, if we've got to go at those corporations, we will withdraw and sanction those corporations that are backing the Stand Your Ground law. You will not spend our money to stand your ground law. They have tried to lie to divide NAACP, National Action Network. We're all together. Ain't no division. Don't let the fox in the hen house. We are together because we all realize it could be any of our children. If they are now, let me tell you something, for all of my life, we fought against police shootings. Now it has gone past that. Now you're talking about a civilian with a record of attacking law enforcement who appoints himself as a neighborhood watchman, can shoot somebody and not even get arrested. Enough is enough. We're not going there.
That's right, Al.
Well, Reverend, you can't convict him. We're not trying to convict him, we're trying to arrest him. You're trying to acquit him without an arrest and a trial. Be real clear. Probable cause does not mean you prove the case in the precinct. Those police and prosecutor that night got in this building and got in wherever they met, and they became the judge, the jury, and the state legislature. They decided that he had an excuse, and they interpreted the law their way. No police have the right to be the judge and the jury and the legislature. No police has the right to look at a man with no physical injuries apparent and say he was beat within an inch of his life. He walked like there was nothing that was wrong with him. And you gonna walk him back into a police car, and you gonna handcuff him again. But this time you gonna print him, you gonna book him, you gonna photo him, and you gonna bring him before a jury of his peers. Well, Reverend, we don't want y'all coming down here starting trouble. Shooting an innocent, unarmed young man is trouble. We are not the troublemakers, we're the trouble breakers. You act like killing innocent children is not trouble. You act like we are not going to rise up and stand together. If you shoot us in Sanford, it hits us in Harlem, it hits us in Chicago, it hits us in LA. We will stand together. We are living in the middle of an American paradox. We made great progress, and at the same time, in some areas, we haven't moved at all. American paradox, that we can put a black man in the White House, but we can't walk a black child through a gated area in Sanford, Florida. We are not going back no more. Somebody needs to inform this county and this state and this nation that you can turn back the clock, but you can't turn back time. We are not going back to the days when we were killed and nobody did nothing about it. There will be justice for Trayvon Martin. Let me say this. The other misnomer. They keep asking, are y'all gonna get violent? We're not the one violent. We had tens of thousands of people in Mellon Park, tens of thousands, not one incident. We had marches all over the country, not one incident. We marching today, not one incident. We're not the ones walking around with guns, looking to shoot people. We're the ones defending ourselves against getting shot. Don't get it twisted. We're the ones that abided by the law. So don't play into their stereotype. They want you to act up so then they can say, see, that's what Trayvon was acting. What's messing them up is when they see young, beautiful sisters and young, strong brothers walking with their heads held high, walking with dignity, walking with pride, walking with their integrity intact, demanding justice for their brother. We are not no thugs. We're not no hoodlums. We're not no bums. Talk to us like you know who you talking to. So I've come to stand with our brothers in the NAACP, Brother Clayton, Brother Jealous, and our chairlady, and all the others, as they have stood with us. Everybody's rally, we go in each other's rally, because it's all one rally. Because all of us want one thing, the immediate arrest of Zimmerman and the police chief. But don't step aside for a moment, keep on going. And we want a just trial for this family. When Attorney Crump called me and I first talked to the parents, but I don't go nowhere unless they ask us to come. I told them I'd be here and National Action Network would be here to the end. I don't care who don't like it. You didn't ask us to come. I'm gonna be here as long as those that invited us tell us they need us here. I am not no boy. I don't need your permission to fight. You used to talking to little boys that run when you lift your voice. And when you start shouting at them, when you talk to me, take the bass out your voice. You talking to a grown man. You kill a little boy, and we gonna fight for justice. We gonna fight with our pride and our dignity. We where we don't itch. We're not laughing at what's not funny. We're not selling out. We're not bowing out. We're not backing down. There will be justice for Trayvon Martin. Thank you. And God bless.
Bring the legend on, baby. Bring the legend on.
Before it started, but what we were trying to do was draw a comparison between what happened to Emmett Till all those years ago and what happened to Trayvon most recently. The stories are different, and yet they're the same, because the only crimes either one of these young men committed was being African American. As Jack Johnson once said, the only crime they committed was having this right here, this unforgivable, as we call it, or as he called it back in the day, 1920s. This unforgivable. This is unforgivable to some people. And no matter where we go in the future, no matter how liberal we may be, or how progressive we may think that we are, so just below, bubbling just below the surface of almost everything that we do is racially tinged. You know, we go about our daily lives, our daily existence. We go to our jobs and we raise our children as best we can. We try to protect them. In particular, we try to protect them from this type of nonsense. Not so much the drastic case of Trayvon, where a young man lost his life for no reason whatsoever, other than this right here, this unforgivable blackness, as Jack Johnson called it. It's tough because we try to, as a race, we try to move forward. We try to leave the past behind, because it's not pretty. But we can't, because it's always there. Someone always throws it right back in our face. And in this case, the most extreme version of that. It's more than unfortunate. It's horrific, and it's tragic in the worst way. It really hurt me to my heart when this situation took place. It just ate me up, because I've seen it before, but, you know, not to this extent. It's happened to me. I was racially profiled just last week, as a matter of fact. Who in this room has ever been racially profiled? Let me get a show of hands. I knew that most of the brothers would put their hands up, because it's happened to all of us. And I see a couple of young ladies did the same thing.
Females.
Interesting. Very interesting. At this point in the evening, I would very much like to get your comments about what you feel about this situation, the Trayvon Martin situation, the historical perspective of the Emmett Till situation, and maybe you can share with us some of your own personal experiences of being racially profiled. Anybody? You can come on up.
I'll say this.
And speak on it. Speak on it from your seat. Whatever you want to do. Thank you.
I'm not going to hold too much of your time. I was back to action. I was supposed to be ushering. My name is David Jackson. I was out there in the usher. It's doing
name is David James.
Beautiful.
I am Whip for Unity. I'm supposed to be ushering the door to make sure people come in the right door and stuff like that. But when I started hearing about Emmett Till, it took me back to when I was 13. My son is now 13. He's just a year younger than Emmett Till when he died. And I was watching how he was a football player. I didn't know that. I didn't know he was a football player. My son is a boxer. And I'm sitting there, and the wells of my eyes started watering up because I couldn't believe, like, I'm looking at my own personal child. Even though that's not my son, I'm looking at my son up there like that could have been him. And the only reason why I'm up here right now is because I want to say this. One of the speakers that was giving a speech, I don't remember her name, but she said something that was really remarkable to me. She said they call it racial profiling, but I'm going to call it the KKK. I'm going to say this, because I know this for a fact. Not all white people are bad. Not all black people are good. I know this for a fact. But I know that when my brother right here says this unforgivable, when I walk into the mall and when I walk into my job, they don't look at me the same way they're looking at somebody of a different skin color. If I'm standing right here and I move right here and somebody else, non-black, stands right there, they feel like because they're standing there, they're better off than me standing right here. It's just like that. It's literally just like that. I don't like a lot of the overtones of, oh, we need to march and we need to go to the Capitol. We should have been doing that. And we should never stop doing that. That's the reason why these things keep happening to us. Because we don't follow up. We get angry, we go out there, we march for 1 or 2 days. Come on, let's be honest. And then after that, what happens? If you continue staying in their face and you keep bringing the power to them, then it will change. We asked with the Civil Rights Movement, we asked even with the Black Panthers, and they used to carry around guns. No more asking. I'm not saying you should pick up a gun and go to war. I'm just saying even when you okay, right now, we're the 12% of the United States population. That is a very small number. In 1980s, we were about, what, 150,000 black men in prison. 2008, 2009, we're almost at 1 million. I think it's about 800,000. To be 12% of the U.S. population, that's a big number. I was listening to the radio the other day. African American women have the highest rate of HIV. Black men dying of high blood pressure. I mean, we just being wiped off the planet from every single solitary thing. This is ridiculous. I'm almost scared to get up in the morning, but the only reason why I do is because I know I'm a man and I gotta face my reality. So when we holding things like this, we want you guys to come out. We want your feedback. We want your tears. We want you to say something. Contradict us if it comes down to that. We need to hear it. But don't just let this go. Don't just, when you go home, call your mother for no reason. Tell her you love her. Grab your kids, let him feel your heartbeat right here. For no reason. Go through your children's stuff. Find out what they into. That's what my mother used to do to me. Go right through my drawers. See what I'm doing. That's what a mom does. That's what a dad does. But don't just let it go. Don't just think I'm going to just wake up tomorrow and I'm going to just go to work and I'm going to just come home. You're adding to the problem because you're not doing anything. When you out in the streets and we walking up and down Albany Avenue and we get a couple of horns, people saying yeah, and then we get people looking at us like we really did. People say, well, we need help. We trying. This is what we doing. We trying. We here. So you can't say you don't need help no more. That's it.
Right, Paul? When it comes to this racial profiling, I feel that it's ingrained in American society, ingrained in our DNA. It's something that never going to be built. Prejudice it's just going to exist. This, I just want to show this is a picture I carry.
What's that?
I don't read this. I just read to see the eyes of a young black child crying. And I always wonder what makes them cry. You know? Because we as a people, as black Americans, African American, America as a society as a whole, what we do is we set labels and titles and things and separate them. God didn't create us to separate. God created us to be together. Humanity. He didn't create the black race, but he created humanity. Human race. And sometimes I get mad when I see, okay, Trayvon Martin, that situation really touched me. So Emmett Till, you know, but
It also touched when I hear about a black kid getting killed in Louisiana. It was a Puerto Rican kid getting killed over on Park Street.
That's right.
You know, it's good that certain things bring attention and awareness, but we got to be vigilant every day. Brothers like y'all, I just sat down and the lady gave me a pen. And I said, let me go up here and see what the brothers talking about. Because I really ain't doing too much. I'm work part-time, so I got a lot of time free. So, but I got a job. Anyway, so what I'm saying is that when everybody quick to call the police and get police involved, where's the community watch? Where are they? We see the signs, big surveillance of our community, but where are they? The lady spoke on the topic saying about she want to know about every child that's going to bed hungry. Where's the village that could raise the child, the old African father? We got so used to being, we being pacified as a race, as a society. They're keeping us in the dark, just like mushrooms. Feed it doodle and it grows. But it grows off doodle. We want real nourishment. We want real food. But on how we get that is collectively together. We want to feed each other. You know, we got to be aware of what's going on in our community. You see this dude in the hallway, you know what he's doing. He ain't working. He got on some $20 night. You know what he's doing. But yet still, that's him. As long as he don't come up to apartment AB, it don't bother me. But what goes on in that basement will eventually reach apartment AB. If you don't cure the cancer in the first stage, it's going to consume the whole body. Everybody it's like we no longer dealing with the spirit and the mental, we are dealing with the physical right now. And it's sad. I got a cell phone. I push a number and I call. No, I need a 4G. But I don't make 4G money. So I'm going to write a bad check. I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. Materialism, that's how we feel that's what makes us. Without my Nikes on, I'm a bum. I'm not a man. But I stand on principles and values, so therefore I'm a man. You know, we got to get more in tune with each other and help each other. It ain't all about everybody want the unemployment rate is crazy, but at the same time, there's so much else you could be doing in life besides working a 9 to 5. You know, like me personally, I feel like if I can go downtown and bump into a brother and feed him some information, he feed me some information, I feel good. I feel like I just made $1 million. You know? We got off track as a race, as a human race, man. I told you we got off track. You know what I'm saying? With the Trayvon Martin situation, there's going to be some nonsense with that. Because of politics. See, with politics can compromise. With God, there's no compromise. It's white, it's black, it's straight. We got to do what we need to do as a people. Stop the hate. We can't. How you going to stop the hate? God hate evil. God hate the devil. Hate is ingrained in our DNA, you know? That's right. But also love is too. Absolutely. And love is stronger than hate. So when I look at, this is my first time ever speaking public.
All right.
It's just strange. Young fella at community college. I was waiting for the bus, talked to him, and I found myself like wanting to really just talk to people, connect with my people. I'm never alone. I got my people.
That's why we're here, brother. So,
brother, just get more aware, man. Because politically, we are the people, man. It said we the people in the Constitution. We the power. But for some reason, somewhere down the line, we lost that. It's like God no longer knowing He God, so He become man, and man no longer using his intelligence, so now He a dog. He an animal. We lost who we were as a people. We lost our power. Like you said, like I could date back to 86, 87 when people brought into that nigga mentality. That's a product. It's being sold. It's being bought up off the shelf. Everybody want to be that thug. Everybody want to be that gangster. Everybody want to be that slick brother. Everybody want to be that playboy. Everybody want to be that that lover boy. Nobody want to be that man, that symbol of what humanity is and what a man is. Something strong and dominant, can't be broken. But we need to just continue on doing what we're doing, man. Like those grassroots organizations such as this, like need to continue on feeding it. Like, yo, if they don't want it, if we march down Albany Avenue, there's only 6 of us. If we carrying a strong message, by the time we reach Homestead Avenue, we have got like over 40 people with us. If we telling them what's truth, not a bunch of propaganda and nonsense.
Sir.
Basically, that's all I have to say. Just learn to say.
How y'all doing, everyone? My name is Cahill. I'm a Hartford native, but I want to give a little background information on how I kind of view things with the whole racial makeup of this country.
All right.
And myself, I'm a product of the Capital Region Education Council. That was a program that was set up to bus students out from the inner city to the suburban schools for a better education. And I had quite an experience out there. I had a pretty decent experience being out there for about 10 years. The school I went to out there was the Simsbury Public School System. And I got a chance to see kind of like the advantages they had out there and the type of supplies and resources they had in their school system that we don't have, and it blew my mind. I was so happy to go into one of their gyms. They had these new trampolines and all this stuff, and you go to one of our gyms over here on Polk Park or something, you don't see not one trampoline. You don't see really no super green grass and all this stuff. Like, I'm just like, it blew my mind as a kid. And that opportunity allowed me to realize that, whoa, what I'm coming from is something that is very humble. It's something that I'm proud of because it's who I am. But at the same time, like, we need more people from the inner city to get in tune with everybody else so they can be on the same plane. Because nobody's better than nobody. And that's what I've learned. Somebody's way of life is not better than somebody else's way of life. And I realized growing up that even though I was different, because like Brother Rob said, of the unforgivable, but if you are a truly good-natured person and you carry yourself with dignity and as a man, people of other races will treat you as such if they haven't had that, ignorance bestowed upon them. But any person can see a person walking down the street with how you carry yourself. And they see if you're about business and you're about spreading love and peace to everyone, and you come with that positive mindset, you'll be treated right. I've had a couple instances where I've been called the N-word in school, but it wasn't a mass collection of people pointing somebody out and bashing them. It might have been one ignorant student that might have been singled out, not because of his race, but because how he dressed, how he carried himself around others. And that's my personal experience of how I felt. But also realize that not only are we racially, profiled by others, but we can be racially profiled by our own people. And what I mean by that is, if you're not fitting a certain standard by how they view you, how you're supposed to be carrying yourself, whether you sag your jeans, how you talk, they're going to sing you out, and you're going to be the bad goose. You're going to be the ugly duckling. And I've had a lot of experiences with, how I chose to carry myself, how I chose to speak. My education, I took it very seriously. I didn't choose to run the streets growing up. But growing up in my neighborhood in Westbrook, with my friend Aunt, we grew up with each other. I felt like I had enough of me. I had enough of that soul. That's in there, My family, they come from Westbrook as well. My family, they come from, the impoverished neighborhoods. And all that stuff was in me, but they want to make a better life for me. And I was never ashamed to show that better side of myself and improve on that.
Amen.
So I wanted to say, like, anybody who wants to really be them, don't let somebody try to get you down, even with the word N-word or whatever other racial epithets there are out there. Don't let that stop you from being you. And as my man said over here, Paul was it, right? Be you, have morals, principles, and live by that. And I think we could get back on track with the human race.
I'd like to hit on the fact that we have Ms. Joanna Lovino here tonight, and she is she's the editor, the writer, the founder, the vision behind the Heart Monitor. It's monthly. It's a monthly.
It's monthly. Yep.
And it hits on community issues, community stories.
Here, I had a lot of opinions about different issues, but I wasn't really doing anything about it. And coming to Hartford gave me the opportunity to get more involved. And I work with a lot of different activist groups. And I noticed that the North End was always given the short end of the stick, or as my co-editor likes to say, the booty end of the stick. And so the Heart Monitor is really designed to be like voices of liberation, and it's specifically for the North End, but it's, you know, anybody is welcome to contribute. But it does, you know, I say it's a racial justice newsletter, but it leans more towards a Black liberation newsletter. And anybody who wants to contribute is welcome to contribute articles. As a matter of fact, I swore that I would not write more than 1 or 2 articles, and we need 8 articles for each, 7 to 8 articles for each issue. So we are always looking for contributions. It doesn't matter how skilled as a writer you are. If you have an opinion and you have a voice, then just put it down on paper and send it to us, and we'll put it in there. And all the contact information is on the last page of the newsletter.
Outstanding. Thank you so much. That's now that's really that's community activism right there. At its highest level. When you take your own time and your own effort to put something out for people to actually they can touch and feel and read and learn from. I couldn't think of anything better. That's outstanding, Sister Julian. So thank you so much for coming out tonight.
Oh, and look for my commentary about the shooting on Wasboro Street in the Hartford News coming out tomorrow. All right. And the letters to the editor section.
Yes, ma'am.